Angelina, thank you so much for being with us today. Now, historically, finance and the fintech sector have been a male-dominated world. And being a leader in the digital asset industry, and from your observations, what are the roles that female leaders can excel in our field?
Good question, King. I think, personally, women can excel in any roles if they're given the opportunity to do the roles. And I think for fintech, what has been probably the major issue of why you don't see more women in key positions in fintech and blockchain companies is because, number one, there's no role models in those areas. The Women's Foundation, of which I work very closely with, I'm the vice chair, we've done a lot of studies in terms of women in tech in general. And basically, when you're very young and you're boys and girls, everybody is the same. If girls are allowed to study STEM and boys are allowed to study STEM, they all move up the same. And women do sometimes even better than most boys. But the issue is the societal issues of parents going, I don't want my daughter to work so hard. Oh, she should go into literature. And boys are naturally, oh, they're gonna be a mechanic. Well, let's go break the... And it's breaking these stereotypes that are really, really important because girls just do equally, if not better, in maths, sciences than boys. And I and TWF credit that. We've seen the statistics and research that it's basically societal issues saying we just won't want our girls to work so hard. And I think that perception needs to change because, you know, women can do anything that men can do. I mean, it's possible, and for any role, that they could do that if given the opportunity to do it. So I would say all roles.
Now, there have been so many studies from the McKinsey to the Leanin.org to the UBS of the world that have been showing empirically that most firms with a lot of female leaders at the board level as well as in the senior management level, they are able to deliver far higher financial performance for the firm as well as doing much better for the well-being of the staff, i.e. being able to foster a better environment for talent developments. Now, so with that being the background, what's your view about the future for Hong Kong in looking at the board representation for having more females in the decision-making positions?
Good question, King. I think a company should look at the whole topic of diversity. It brings a diverse group of people together with different interests and different knowledges. And what they do is when they come together, you get a diversity of opinion. The most important thing that boards should be thinking about, not only for their own board, but how their board looks is going to be. If you have a board that's stale, male, and pale, that's not going to be a very good indicator for what the rest of the company is going to be looking like.
So from your observations, what are the firms or the countries where they've done a really good job that we should learn from?
I think the example that the UK and Australia have done in terms of getting more diverse boards have been probably the best examples. They were able to vault within 3 to 5 years to get almost 24 to 26% women on boards. And that was a combination of private companies with government NGOs moving together in lockstep to get more diversity on boards. And it wasn't just women and men, it was also getting different races and different types of people on boards. And having that board mentality has been very, very important. So Australia also did a similar situation. They saw what the UK did and pretty much followed it.
Angelina, I understand that you were born in Los Angeles and moved to Hong Kong in the early 90s. And as you have been progressing in your career in Hong Kong, and from the regulatory road to the audit road to becoming a very successful management leader, looking back at your career, can you pinpoint any specific factors in the Hong Kong environments that might have helped your career development?
I came in, I shouldn't say this, but I came in 1994, and I didn't even know what I was getting into. I signed a contract with this company and I ended up at the doorstep, and I had the most amazing boss who gave me so many opportunities. And he just said, Angelina, you're gonna meet everybody in Hong Kong. So him being that mentor and opening up doors and giving me the opportunity to meet the head of the stock exchange, the head of the futures exchange, the head of the SFC in 1994 was really, really unusual. But that really helped me to be able to help him, because I could immediately get to work really quickly because of just that training that he gave me. Some other secrets of success, the fact that anybody can do. Hong Kong has always been a can-do place. So if you're willing to do whatever it is, then people are willing to work with you on that if you come up with a good idea. So halfway through my career, I got really into the area of compliance. And you probably go, Angelina, why would you want to go into compliance? It's probably the most boring thing. But I was really excited because this is a whole new area. And you know what? It's become one of the most important areas in the world. And actually, the SFC thought we were going to lead a revolt against them. No, we want to help you do your job better. We, investment banks, want to do the right thing. So, you know what we did? We started a compliance officers group. So I started with 8 people. And by the time I joined the SFC, I took a strange turn and I went into the SFC. We had 350 compliance officers at that time. And this was in 1998, this was already growing. So this can-do attitude that, hey, let's try it. I mean, the worst thing you can do is like fall over or it fails, but at least you get up and try it. So Hong Kong's can-do attitude and acceptance of trying to do things a little bit differently has been another, for me, a very, very big success point. The third thing is there's so many people from so many different cultures, and having that diverse opinion and having different people feed in their opinions makes a lot of these plans a lot better. So when we first started in compliance, nobody knew what compliance was. And it was going to talk to the SFC and, hey, this is interesting. Because they were so new also at the time. So they were willing to listen and they were willing to go, hey, let's work with the industry. I think for me, the other part of Hong Kong that why I love this place so much is it's just so unusual. There's so many places to go. There's so many pieces of history that I never knew. And as an American-born Chinese, when I came here, I'm just from Hong Kong. And this is my home, and I can learn my background. And this has been a part that has actually really stabilized me and given me, shall we say, the strength and the opportunity to actually grow from being both American and Chinese. All of the major companies around the world represented here. All the CEOs come here, all the smart ones come here. They get posted here for a period of a few years. So the people that you meet here have been amazing. So if you get to know these people and you go back to whatever your country is and you keep in touch with them, you have a global network. And this is where Hong Kong is the grand connector.
Now, Angelina, many of us in the fintech field knows that you really love Hong Kong and this is your home. Now, when we look at the development of blockchain and digital assets business in Hong Kong, and from your observation, can you share with us about what are the things that Hong Kong need to do in order for us to take the blockchain and digital asset industry to the next level?
There are so many things that Hong Kong can adapt and add on to. We already have so many great things that we can grow on. So just a little bit about what you were talking about. Our chairman, Dr. Shao, he had the foresight to say, you know what, I want to do digital assets. So just having that foresight of him saying, hey, we're going to do it here. Hong Kong should also recognize that and say, hey, we're going to be a financial center for digital assets. We're going to embrace blockchain. We're going to be the front-facing connector between China and the world to China on blockchain and digital assets. And if we can accept that, we can beat any other country in the world. But how do we do that? One is to have regulatory clarity, to have clear rules, to have very clear touch points in terms of where are we moving in terms of a blueprint for plans of how are we going to regulate digital assets, how are we going to encourage training for people in STEM, how are we going to train in terms of where digital assets, CBDC, which is central bank digital currency, how are we going to train in that area? So China has been moving so fast already. They're testing with people using the China central bank digital currency already. We need to get up to speed if we want to be a part of that connection with the greater world. We need to be a part of the exchange, the SFC, the government. We need to upgrade our laws. We need to understand with our courts, they need to understand how do we do digital transactions. We've had a tumultuous few years, and now what we need to do is get back and start looking at our laws. How can we start upgrading them to be ready for a digital revolution? How can we actually get people trained in these areas of law in terms of patents, intellectual property, to protect what we have? I love Singapore, but we could do so much more than Singapore if we all work together to move towards blockchain, move towards encouraging technology for Hong Kong, and become a technological center. We've got some of the smartest kids. We've got great teachers. These are things that we can do for Hong Kong together.
Great. So yeah, I think I'm so glad we finally got a chance.
I know,
to
thank you
chat.
very much.
Yeah.
And
And I guess this is really only step one
yes,
of the many steps ahead of us.
I can't wait.
Great.
So thank you very much today, and thank you for inviting me today.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.